Hey everybody, welcome back. Very excited to introduce our next speaker to you, who will be speaking about financial aid. I'm sure you guys have a lot of questions about it. So the next speaker is Mr. Richard Myung. He will be speaking about the biggest challenge to maximize the college financial aid. He's the president and CEO of AGM Institute, a master college financial aid specialist, former Wachovia Bank vice president and financial planner, and Korea Times Korea Daily financial aid columnist with over 1,680 columns. So without further ado, let's go ahead and introduce Mr. Richard Myung.
Hello, everyone. My name is Richard Myung, and today's topic is how to maximize a college financial aid, and that is a very critically important issue today, because the biggest challenge to maximize the college financial aid is getting to be a little bit more difficult every yearly basis, and since the U.S. government changed its entire formula. And as long as the technical terminologies, and actually you might have a very difficult to understand during the process. So today I'm going to discuss about how to maximize college financial aid, as well as how you can do the prior planning for the college financial aid, and also how to improve admissions so that you could expect the maximum financial aid from the school, because you will be treated as a preferred student to register. And also various research programs to enhance your personal profile to maximize financial aid opportunities. So this is me, and I was briefly introduced, and you can actually refer back to my profile later. And today's the most interesting topic is, what is college financial aid? Of course, I will talk about need-basis financial aid and not merit basis, but merit basis is included inside the need basis, so it's not separate each other as well. It is a combined concept. So you won't be able to receive more than need basis, even though you receive the merit basis, because they will deduct it from need basis amount. And the next one is, how does it work? Is, of course, we have to discuss about eligibility, application, verification of income and asset, also appealing process and financialization at the same time. So let's talk about eligibility. The student current, the status is more important. Permanent resident or U.S. citizens are eligible, and you have to have at least a GPA 2.0 out of 4.0 scale. International students are rarely exceptional, but about 184 students, the financial aid awarding schools are available among private colleges. Also, undocumented students or DACA students, it used to be okay until last year, but this year maybe you might have to take your own risk, especially for Trump government administration, actually the status check. So I have a strong concern about any financial aid on this student status. This is very important, the page, especially discuss about cost of attendance, including tuition, room and board, food cost, transportation, fees, and personal expenses together. So entire cost of attendance amount is the maximum total needs we need to look for. However, in between students and parents' income, asset, number of household size, or parents' net worth of business or income level would be greatly considered to calculate student contribution and parent contribution together, which will be combined to finalize student aid index amount. Student aid index amount is your own liable portion from each colleges you apply for. So maximum cost of attendance, it will be deducted by SAI, which is your liable portion. Then the remaining, the amount will be considered as a maximum financial aid target amount, which is calculated as financial need amount. So out of financial need amount, there's public school and private school. So public school is divided between in-state students and out-of-state tuition students, right? So in-state state students usually will be awarded around 60 to 72% of the financial need amount. The California is a little bit exceptional because of the Cal Grant A is in between 82 to 86%. And the composition-wise, the free money, we call that gifted award or grant or scholarships. There are need-based scholarship and merit-based scholarship together combined will be around 55 to 65% range. And also the remaining portion is we call the work study program or loan program, student or parents loan. But from the next year, that we have a very difficult situation for plus loan because a plus loan there will be we have a great problem because starting from July the 1st, 2026, and graduate students would not be able to apply for the graduate plus loan at all. And also parent plus loan is up to maximum of $20,000, but there is also a cap for the entire year in colleges will be maximum of $65,000. So we have a great problem, especially to send our kids to college with a need basis as well. And out of state tuition rate, that is a great problem because most of schools they don't give any award. The state schools that does not give any award for out of state students, so that actually they would pay maybe around $30,000 more in tuition because of the lack of the state sources like funding, and they will be able to award only federal portions as well. That's why usually they could get very limited amount of financial aid, which is like literally impossible to send to out of state schools, even though that student got admitted then with just a normal level of income sources of each family. So private school is totally different. They have so much school endowment fund available. So private schools, they award in between 90 to 100% of the financial need amount. And as a composition wise, gifted aid, it will be around 70 to 86%. So as a result of all these comparisons, and actually student will be able to go to private school much less than net cost of the state schools. So what is the best way to apply for is in-state school or private school. But this is a very important diagram that you need to memorize. Okay, so next topic is college financial aid process. First of all is you must be able to understand the financial aid formula. Formula is very important thing because formula will calculate your own liability portion called the student aid index amount. And federal and state laws and FOLPA. What is the FOLPA? Family Education Rights and Protection Act. And definitely they have a very higher restriction to use outside sources for financial aid help. And you have to be, and also the most important part of FOLPA is you have to disclose everything you have. If you have any intentions to maximize financial aid by concealing any asset or income information, and if it is considered as intentionally wrongdoing things later, then there's a huge penalties, and even you might be confined, such as like 2 years in jail or something like that. So any student status, like the permanent resident status, might be out of the country. So you have to be very careful regarding FOLPA law. And financial X-ray is the important thing. The parent, you have to shift your paradigm. Okay, you have to check the types of income and assets based on the financial aid formula, and also family situations could be maybe special circumstances or something like that. So you have to be very careful. And where the income sources are considered to be calculated of a prior years to the college registration. So let's say if anyone is applying for the next year's college financial aid, have to use last year's tax return. prior years. But asset information will be very tricky because it will be considered as a time of financial aid application process time. However, no matter what, you have a stock bonds or any CD interest incomes last year, then even though you just did, a lot of any types of financial planning to, or you might not have any financial such sources, but still school will ask you and for any explanation, and you have to be very careful when you the reply. And so the timing issue, as I told you, is very, very important thing. And then the next one is the college application selections. And I strongly recommend you to review each college's financial aid level on average. If they could award you very less of an amount of financial aid from your financial need amount, and even though you got admitted, but you're not going to select that school to go for due to financial burdens, right? So you have to also understand about financial aid process, etc. So now let's talk about a little bit more in detail. Application, first of all, we call the FAFSA, free application for federal student aid, which is a federal side. And like what I said here. And next one is a CSS profile. Any school giving you a maximum financial aid, or actually the FAFSA information is very limited. So they try to extend more questions and try to find every details about your financial income and asset, including your parents, the business income and loss, and asset and liability information as well. That's why they ask for CSS profile through College Board. And once you submit these informations, and there will be also another requirement for IDOC system, institution documentation service. So you have to select all those verification information and upload it to IDOC system, so they could actually distribute those informations among the joint schools who are using IDOC system. Even though it is a private schools requiring CSA profile does not require IDOC system, then you have to really follow up with such individual independent private school colleges by yourself. And some colleges, they have institutional financial aid application, and also you have to follow up income verification and expense verification as well. And also, once you receive the financial aid, you have to really consider about strategic ways of obtaining process. And, or sometimes a financial hardship conditions, such as your parents actually lose your job, or any high level of health conditions or expensive medical expenses are rising. So that is a typical like a negotiation status. And then final process is like once you were awarded for student loans or parents loan, and you have to complete master promissory note and the loan counseling courses as well at the same time. So this is a FAFSA application of this year, and it will be available to arrange this FAFSA application starting from October the 1st. But actually, I'm giving you the kind of some screenshot of these pages. And this right side is a deadline for the school's FAFSA deadlines, which is equals to their state deadlines. But each state has a different deadlines. But the most important deadline is the school's priority deadline, which is much faster than state deadlines. And also, all the action, all the decision, and regular students are quite different deadlines you have. So you have to check every school's deadline by accessing their website. And this is a CSS profile. Once you access College Board, and there is the on-screen page, and actually right down side at the corner, there is a CSS profile application. You have to use your College Board username and password to access this CSS profile. So you can actually check your participating school's name on the left-hand side as well. So if you just click and you will be able to see the list of the schools, requesting the CSS profile. So the next topic is action plan. This is the most important the process that you need to really consider, like income planning and or asset planning. Most of people they could come up with some questions on how we can do income planning, like we just reduce our working hour, or what we have to do, or something like that. So yeah, it's a totally different way. Everything should be done by verifiable data, and it should be done through legal planning. Okay, so there are so many different ways of doing that. I'm going to introduce you how to do that. First of all, we have to understand SAI amount, like the calculation factors. Like if you see here and all the red, the shadow area is all highly calculative financial assets. And then our main idea is how we can reposition like a calculable asset to non-calculable asset, right? So that actually in asset wise, you could reduce your SAI, the liability portion. And income side is a little bit difficult. Financial aid impact is like I will show you, and all the red colored asset. I don't have much time today actually to go for every single bit by bit, but if you have any assets or kind of income, untaxed income is calculable by IRA deductions and even tax qualification for like a Roth IRA contributions or even pension 401k, because you are able to manageable. You could put it in, or you can decide not to do it because the school will think, and federal government will think that why don't you use your controllable the income contributions, for your financial aid. So that actually, in reality, even though you put it in and deducting as an expenses from your income tax purposes, the problem is, and actually they will actually increase your SIA amount by utilizing that amount, that contributed amount after paying the taxes. So everything will become in vain. And assets like education saving type asset, that is the biggest challenge, right? Because no matter how much lower income you have, because you have saved this asset for the purpose of financial aid, so Uncle Sam, U.S. government will definitely increase almost 3 to 5 times of this saved amount than your current cash assets you have. This is a page of FAFSA application in paper version. And as you see, that here is, and actually you could see the IRA contribution, everything they asked for and deductions, because simple IRA, SEB IRA, or any 401k contributions, because they are going to count on it, right, to increase your SAI. So most of financial planners or any licensed person, they misunderstand, entire the complication with all the financial aid formula. So I'm going to discuss about it later. And also student side is also the same questions. Okay, this is this year's financial aid, the question. So there are so many different changes to calculate the your SAI increase, like when they calculate your net worth up to $135,000, and your adjusted net worth amount will become 40% of it. And then that will be the geared toward calculate your financial aid liability portion, right, based on your income. And net price calculator, this is a very tricky area that most of parents, they try to access each school's website. Financial aid section, there is always a net price calculation, how much you could pay to the school after receiving financial aid. That is a net price, right? But many schools, especially private schools, usually they miscalculate it because if you believe that it will cost you so much and bring you biggest financial burdens, and you are not going to apply for it. So they will lose the opportunity to review your kids so that they normally have a disclosure that some portion has not been calculated or is not the exact amount that you could be liable for. Maybe it could be may change, after reviewing your income and asset verification later, something like that. So just ignore that. So FAPS application is like that. So you could see that there is a calculable asset and non-calculable asset. So such a reposition could definitely gear toward your planning effect by reducing your SAI amount. And this is for business owners, okay? Instead of you underreport your income, which is it's not a tax avoidance. That's tax evasion, which is illegal. But if you use this type of corporate trust methodologies, and you could definitely deduct even up to annual contribution, the amount limit is kind of even up to $350,000. So how about this one? Simple IRA salary deferrals, or even 401k is not recommended, but profit sharing is recommended. The defined benefit pension or cash balance and 412(b)(3) defined benefit plan are highly recommended. So according to the owner of the business, especially your family member, the highest age being employed with a W-2 income, or even the LLC, pure LLC income. And then you could see the maximum up to the income level of 350,000. Then you could even contribute up to $351,000, which means tax deductible. So you could actually have a lot of rooms to play with this corporate trust. So you can not only reducing your taxes, you can the whatever deduction amount goes to your corporate plan. So it's not parents' income or asset; it's a corporate plan's the asset. And at the same time, you save a lot of taxes and maximize the current financial aid. So as a result of this example, this is a general contractor, like making $290,000, but he is contributing up to $210,000, 885. So he could save so much taxes. So, and also his income becomes only $90,000, so that he's eligible to receive financial aid. And also, this is another example that the husband makes 85,700 and wife generates $54,300 in W-2, and then they deducted from up to $66,500. They saved the 26,600 in taxes, and also they were able to receive almost 100% of financial aid. Okay, so what is our mission? Our mission is how we can get SAI amount lower so that we could maximize the financial need amount to maximum financial aid. That is our main goal for college financial aid planning. So maximum college financial aid is financial aid planning is a must. Without a college financial aid planning, you won't be able to maximize your financial aid. Even though you have only W-2 income employee, but if you are maximizing your 401k to reduce your income taxes, and also trying to show your the adjusted gross income, you are making a big mistake, because you'll be able to pay more than what with the status that you don't do it. So you definitely need a consultation. So it is important to measure kind of effect is for any licensed person, because without a proper financial plan licenses and to handle kind of the listed area of all the financial assets, and which is illegal. So there are so many non-professional people, they try to help student families by charging something which is illegal. And because they can only submit the application, but they can't do any types of the consultation. That's illegal. And so that look at it's the same situation. Like speaking English will become very good businessman. Of course not. Even there are so many the um the well, I don't want to say. Um, there are unprofessional persons out there speaking English, but they can they become a good businessman at all, something like that. So most of the mistakes come from non-licensed and licensed, even licensed person with not enough data and experiences. Okay, without any the data or experiences, and it's really hard to try to get you maximum financial aid at all. I'll show you the reason why later. And also, final process is evaluation, appealing, and master promissory note, and loan counseling courses and funding. And that's what I initially we gave you some information as a final process. So how we can do maximizing college financial aid through admission rate, and in between that we have to really see the both ways of utilization based on the need basis. And financial aid process could definitely would not be able to impact college admission decision because it is need basis. Need basis is under the federal law. But these days, and I'm a little bit out about it, and unless you initially do the right planning ahead of time, okay, yeah, any sudden changes in school could come up with so many questions last year. So college admissions and would be able to help financial aid because if you're considered as considered as a good the preferred student to register, of course, you'll be able to get a maximum financial aid too. But advantage is you can actually utilize a financial aid to maximize your college admissions because on a college financial aid information, you have to list up all the applying schools and actually you have to strategize by selecting the maximum of college financial aid schools only there so that they could actually compete each other to recruit their preferred students. And college admissions, and of course, you can actually take advantage of financial aid because preferred students would receive the maximum. So key to success is how we can build a student profile. And profile building is important thing, and financial aid preparation for the pre-planning would be very important thing. This is kind of actual data I pulled up from our existing the clients, and actually financial aid appeal result this year, and from the here nothing to something, nothing to 47,095, nothing to 13,000, blah 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 blah. Why does this cause this type of problem? Because please do not try to understand by submitting the application is all done, usually without any planning and deep understanding about your financial aid, and then you could make any huge problem here. Even this student was receiving nothing, and even Cornell. But after the three appeals process and $78,423 free money was awarded that year, this year, definitely, something like that. So in understanding admission, factor is important thing. Admission process is divided by three different process: academic index and extracurricular activities and personal qualification. Okay, if you look at the common application or each school's application, you could see that there are three segments like this. So admission factors, you could see that here, like a different admission factors, but will be listed on a college application. So each school has a different preference. Very important considered. And very important is about 40-50% range of the consideration. And also important is 30-40% if those are the same and tie among the students, and then they will prefer these considered factors. But even though they are adjacent each other, the University of Chicago and Northwestern, their evaluation is totally even reversed way of the evaluation. So if you copy one application to another application without knowing each school's the very important admission factors, and there's a great chance that you will fail one of each. And as you see, the second one. And so taxonomy is a very important thing, especially this year. The UCLA, there are more than 175,000 something students and actually apply for the school, but each school has around only less than 30 admission counselors, and usually based only about on average of 7 minutes to evaluate each student's application. They would be able to review only up to about 25,000 students only. So literally it's impossible to review every applications, right? So they have to select about up to the number of applications they could actually digest. So it is based on the spiritual way of doing it is like a point system. They evaluate each question's answers on the application as a point system. So for example, okay, if your GPA based on 4.0 scale, 3.7 to 3.84 will be the 9 points, and also 3.85 to 4 points is a 10 points, something like that. So according to all this information, they add them together. However, if you are already 11th grade and or 12th grade rising senior, then it's too late to just do something with all the academic features, right? So you have to really think about the different strategies, how to maximize like non-academic achievement rating, like a national, international level achievement in 4 or more significant areas, you get 5 points. And state or regional is the 3 points. And significant at the area level is the 2 or more areas, 3 points. And once you get a 3 points and like a personal qualification rating could give you up to clear 4 points, like a clear evidence of excellent interpersonal qualities, right? So it is much better to strategize, decide of the application, your college application. So the college recommendation is also what kind of words are included, and computer will evaluate, calculated as a point system. So what happened is, like a college application, there are over 4 million students applying among 27,000 schools, and number one school of each college, 27,000 valedictorians, and also salutarian, like second-ranked students each, and SGA president, and editors each. So if you add them together, and there are more than 180,000 students applying the high level schools together, they're competing each other. So, but each top 10 schools, including all the majors, they select only 22,000, a little bit over student range each year. So problem is that there will be only 1% difference could make a pass or fail, which it will be based on the college applications. Okay, please remember this is very important thing. So this time of the year is a really important thing to look at your common application. Of course, this common application, the screen shows last year, so but this year the information is the same. Only the ways of looking is a little bit different. More recently updated, right? So if you look at education section, go down to honors, and they will ask for the 5 achievement record, okay? Is because to calculate the point system. You see? So first step is, understanding admission process. Second step is profile building. Third step is college selection. So it must be personally, socially impactful and enhance personal qualities. So leadership research achievement areas, and this is actually a screenshot of one of the the widely known colleges, and it says contribution to community. Here, our advice is more than recommendation, right? Or suggestions. They said do not overlook um, the research, internship, family responsibilities, etc., as an important contributions. So must be socially impactful. And this is another idea. It's like international programs, like a Korean university this year has only about 2 to 3 weeks program in Korea for international winter campus. But they generate the college credit hours. And also the program cost is very, very small. Even one course is only $1,300 and second courses is 2,250. So just to take a screenshot of this page and then you apply there by yourself. Okay. I just found and also some of my students, they really got the nice outcome out of this. And also the accommodation on campus is only about here, one single room and double room is very 3 weeks, only 550, which is even 3 or 4 days of hotel cost. And you could definitely be able to inherit all the Korean heritage and as well as all the good experiences with academic improvement. And also, this is another program we have, HRP AI. It's a research internship program. So it's a various areas of individual research with the IB PhDs. And also another is AI program. And there are so many students actually completed and got a really good college admission result by enhancing their artificial intelligence research areas. It must be socially impactful too. Okay, and also paradigm shift is important thing. Do not take opinions by non-licensed as an absolute. Okay, my child will take care because he or she speaks in better English. Of course not. You need to definitely understand the formula. Focusing on form and application submission. Okay, I'm done. Of course not. That is just beginning. Okay, and then once the application is submitted, the college will take care of it by automatic system? Of course not. Individually be reviewed and they have their own prejudices, you see? Yeah. Think about it. If your income is only $35,000 a year, but you have $100,000 in stocks, and how do you think? CDs, of course, they're not going to give you any financial aid much at all. My income is too high. Yeah, of course, I showed you like income over $290,000, which who is not eligible, but after doing a prior planning, and actually was able to receive almost 80% of entire financial aid, more than $65,000 in college free money from the school. And our income is very low, and I'll be able to write. Of course not. Even though you make $40,000, but your expense verification shows that you are spending $6,000 a month, they're not going to believe it. So you'll be in really big trouble. You have to really consider to be making sensible. Okay. And college application market with no financial aid. Some people they do it because it might affect their admission side, but if you market, then you are not going to receive any financial aid from that year point of view. And so the conclusion is we have to really strategize entire college financial aid, the venues, and definitely you should be able to maximize financial aid by pre-planning. So the conclusion is like you have to be able to self-evaluate. We developed our form. So if you contact us, and I will send you the self-evaluation form so that actually you will be able to measure how much you have a knowledge background on, this financial aid process. Okay, so my time's up, and I hope you are better the maximum the result, especially by doing pre-plannings. And if you have any further questions, you can just send me an email and with the direct questions. Okay. Thank you very much, you all. Thank you. Bye bye.